So if you're about to graduate and you're starting into the application process for graduate jobs, I suppose your starting point is having an idea really about what you're looking to get into. Now, I know a lot of graduates do kind of vocational type degrees, like engineering and IT, which obviously relates. But there's a lot of guys out there that have done things like humanities and they're not quite sure what they want. So my advice is to approach companies such as Graduate Recruitment Bureau, who have lots of research about different industries, really find out about each industry before you start applying for jobs. That makes your application look so much better rather than just a generic kind of application. I mean, there's no harm in applying for a volume of jobs. I mean, that's kind of what people are doing at the moment anyway. It's not an approach I would always go for, but at least if the job's all in the same type of area, then you know that's fine. I mean, for example, if you are looking at going into the recruitment industry, I don't see a problem with somebody who's applied for 20, 30 different recruitment companies because they're all in the same sector, and they obviously are, the role is related. I think the key really for me is if I see somebody who's applied for, let's say, IT and a sales job and a PR job, they're all very, very different. That's when I would get some sort of concern as to whether this person's really motivated. If you're applying for 20, 30 different jobs and you're really not hearing anything, again, what I would do is just make sure you're making your CV correct. Perhaps have a look at it and think about why it's not quite getting through. Have you sent it to the right people within those organisations? You could always call up a company and find out who to send a CV to directly, rather than perhaps an info kind of address. Yes, you can use job sites and jobs boards to kind of put your CV onto, and hope that potential employers might come to you as well. And it can be a way that works, particularly if you're not sure about certain industries or haven't heard of certain industries in the first place. But I would always make sure that if somebody does call you because they've seen your CV on a jobs board, that you know what company they're calling from, and that you know whether they're an agency or a direct employer as well. So if you've sent your CV and covering letter but you haven't heard, I don't think the word pushy comes into context, because you're looking for work. So I would always follow up with a call. In fact, following up with a call is perhaps much more proactive than just letting the CV lie. As a recruiter myself, I get quite impressed when a graduate calls me up to make sure that the CV's been received, or to make sure that everything is okay and that they understand the application process themselves. I find that a bit more proactive than, let's say, just someone who's sent me 3 or 4 different versions of the same CV.